Good evening, ladies. Good evening. It is Tuesday, which means it's time for Tuesday Talks with Tonia. And I am Tonia, host, creator, content creator, whatever you want to call me. Tuesday Talks with Tonia, for those of you that are new, which it looks like most of you are, to this platform. It's a podcast that I started a couple of years ago. I had a group that we did in-person meetings prior to COVID. We met every other Tuesday, and it was just a way for women to come together, to share, to encourage, to empower, to support. When I moved to Augusta over 20 years ago, I didn't find that community of women, and so decided to create my own. I'm not with a lot, I don't do negativity, I don't do drama. And typically, if you find a lot of women, especially women of color, that's what you find. And I wanted to show that there are other sides of women that we don't always fight. We're not always catty, we're not always in drama. And Tuesday Talks really is about, sharing your stories, being open, being honest without judgment. We don't judge. You are who you are. This is a safe zone. I tell women all the time, what we say here, if it's in confidence, it's in confidence. So we are recorded. I do have a YouTube channel. It's the same name, Tuesday Talks with Tonia, and we're also on Audio Mac. So if you listen to podcasts, you can go to Audio Mac, which is another platform for just listening. And then with the YouTube, you can do the video and the listening. So, with that being said, thank you all for joining me on this Tuesday evening. And I'm so delighted to have Miss Deidre as my guest. And we're going to be talking about autism and autism speaks, and that difference can be good. And so, Deidre and I have known each other for, oh my, a long time. And
Yes.
really, really just by way of me and the work that I did formerly with the former mayor and work that I've done in the community and just kind of some of the people, we know some of the same people. And so I've just watched her journey and I've been inspired by her journey with Marshall, because when I tell you, I look at her and to me, nothing's wrong with Marshall. Marshall is a regular child. Like, she makes sure she exposes him to things. She makes sure she shares his accomplishments. She encourages other mothers. And so the personal thing for me that I wanted to have this conversation. So I have a grandbaby who is about to be 3 years old. And I kept telling my daughter, I said, Sage is on the spectrum. You need to talk to Miss Deidre. And she's, of course, in denial. She's 23 years old. These young people, you can't tell them nothing. And so I said, well, maybe if she won't hear it from me, she'll hear it from Miss Deidre. And Deidre's like, anytime she wants to call me, tell her to call me, I'll help her. And she has done just that. She finally reached out after almost a year to Deidre.
Right.
And so I'm just so elated to have Deidre Roberson here. And we're going to talk about her journey, Marshall's journey, the new nonprofit that she started, Mom. And I love the acronym. And so, Deidre, welcome to Tuesday Talks with Tonia.
Hey, Tanya. Thank you for having me. Of course, I'm Deidre Robertson. I started my own foundation in 2013, and I called it MOM, which is Moving Over Mountains Against Autism. Um, and the reason I started it is because when this happened to me, I didn't have anyone. I didn't know anything. I educated myself about everything with Marshall, but I wasn't that parent that was in denial. I knew something was there, so I went in and I went at it. And I'll tell any parent that's dealing with it, the main thing, early intervention is the key. So I started out with Marshall at 2.5. Uh, Something that people don't know, Richmond County, if you are in SPED, they will start you in school at 3. So by school being then started by the time, his birthday came is in December, we started having school at home. So they would come out 3 times a week and see us. And from there, we're here. I just try to make sure I stay focused and positive with him. It's not easy. It's not easy being a parent to any child. Let's just say that. So a child with special need, it doesn't change it, but it just changes the dynamic for you. I have a great support system, and Tanya, you're a part of that as well. Team Marshall is awesome. I try to make sure that I, as you say, put his accomplishments out there so people will know. Um, yeah, so that's where we are.
So let me share some information. So like I said, when I'm talking about subjects that I'm not really familiar with, I like to do research. And so I had to put on my glasses because y'all, I can't see. So when you're over 50, yeah, your eyesight changes a little bit.
Girl, time
So
my 50th birthday, I got these glasses.
listen, I was in denial for a long time. But what I did, I researched, and because autism is just one piece, but it says, what is autism spectrum disorder? And it says, autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder characterized by impaired social interaction, verbal and nonverbal communication, and restrictive and repetitive behavior. The diagnostic criteria requires that symptoms become apparent before a child is 3 years old. So that's one of the things I want to talk about. The second thing, it says autism affects information processing in the brain by altering how nerve cells and their synapses connect and organize. How this occurs is not well understood. It is one of three recognized disorders in the autism spectrum. The other two being Asperger's syndrome, which lacks delays in cognitive development and language, and then pervasive development disorder, not otherwise specified, which is diagnosed when the full set of criteria for autism or Asperger's syndrome are not met. And so that was of interest to me. And then the other piece, it said people with autism often have problems with social communication and interaction and restricted or repetitive behaviors or interests. People with ASD may also have different ways of learning, moving, or paying attention. And so one of the things that I noticed when my granddaughter, her name is Sage, she's 2, she'll be 3 in April. Um, it wasn't until she probably was about 1.5, and I kept saying, something's not right. You would call her name, you would say it, and I promise you, this child couldn't hear. I kept saying, Mia, we need to get her tested. I think she's deaf. And Mia, no, she can hear me. I said, no. I said, I think because you're her mom, she watches your mouth and sees you talking to her. But I said, if it's anybody else, she'll be walking in the room. She'll just walk in circles. She started licking walls and licking the floor. I was like, what is this child doing? And I couldn't figure it out. And then I said, well, Mia, I think you need to have her tested. She didn't want to listen. So I left it alone for a while. So when she was about 2, um, she took her to the doctor because she finally noticed her hearing. What happened was she had fluid built up behind her ears, so they ended up putting tubes in her ears. Well, then once she got the tubes, and it was the strangest thing. I was at someone's house one day and they had a dog that was upstairs. We were downstairs and she was just going around in circles in the kitchen, just going around in circles. When we called her, she didn't hear anything, but as soon as the dog barked, it was like she stood up, and it was like, well, how in the world? She don't hear us, and we right here talking to her. But so finally she took her, she got the tubes in her ears. And then it was, well, she doesn't like eye contact. She doesn't like you in her personal space. She's not a touchy-feely type child. She don't like hugs. She don't like kisses. Like it could be a room full of people. She's in a corner by herself playing. As long as she has her tablet, she's fine. And if she goes somewhere and it's noisy, like she's always got her ears covered. So now we have headphones everywhere she goes. So those are some of the things that I noticed. And then that's when I reached out to the DJ. I was like, hey, I think this is what it is. Mia's not listening. What am I supposed to do? You try to let her be a mother, but you also want to make sure that the child is getting what they need. So, Deidre, I'll let you have the floor.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to your first part when you talked about her not hearing and the definition of autism. Spectrum is a disorder and it's big. Marshall was diagnosed with what we call developmental delay. That's under the spectrum. So we know he have a delay, but we don't know how far that delay is or how that delay will go or whether it will challenge him. Now, we had, this is my personal opinion. If I could do it, I wouldn't say if I could do it all over again. If I had to do it over again, I'd do things differently, but I wouldn't change who my son is. Marshall was mama, dad, thank you, hello, everything. I am at I think it might have been after he got his 12 to 18 month shot, he shut down on me and it was nothing. So we did the same thing you did. They couldn't hear, went to the doctor. We got the tubes. After that, he could hear, but it was still that part where he couldn't talk to me. He couldn't communicate. It was to get anything out. So for me, we started speech, and we started occupational therapy. And like I said, I started going through the school part of that as well. Now to go back into what you said, again, I say early intervention is the key. That was a conversation that me and Mia had when she did call me because I wanted to let her know, let's start now. We can move forward. Not all children on the spectrum are the same, and what works for Marshall might not work for Tito. You understand what I'm saying? So we'll just, that's part of what I do with my organization and talking to parents. Like I told Mia, we'll work together to see what's best for your child to get them where they need to be.
So with autism, like you said, what works for one may not necessarily work for the other. How hard is it to get resources? Because a lot of times we don't have access to the right resources, or we don't have access to resources that others may have access to. So that's part of, I know, why you started mom, because of that reason right there. So what were the challenges that you faced as you were going and navigating through this?
Navigating through it, trying to get the resource. It's more so finding the right people, finding, like you said, you Google stuff, you internet stuff. Once I got him into uh, the physical therapy part of it, um, when I got there, it was a lot of people that were there. So, a lot of parents sit in the room and they talk and you like network with each other to find things. But I can say here in Augusta, we don't have a lot of that. That's just like you would know, Dr. Onipo, my friend, where you came and met me at. That's why she started what we call filling in the gaps. And what that is, I am part of her organization, and the autism part is where I fall in that puzzle, whether it be mental health or whatever. That's what we're there for, to help people to get the resources and stuff that are needed for that.
And it's interesting because there's a program called Babies Can't Wait. And I knew about that because of the work that I had done being a part of the board for the Augusta Partnership for Children. So I
Mm-hmm.
told Mia when Sage was a baby, I said, you need to go to Babies Can't Wait and make sure that you're getting, whatever help or resources that they may have. She didn't listen. And then when she finally contacted Babies Can't Wait, it was like probably about 6 or 7 months ago. Now Sage is on the verge of being 3. Once you're 3 years old, that changes the game. Like, you don't have access to things that you would have had access prior to them turning 3 years old. And so it's important for you to have your organization, because if they don't know, they just don't know. But you also have to stress the importance of like early early
And
detection, early intervention is key for them to get the help and the resources that they need. And I had one person ask me about, well, can't they get Social Security? And I'm not really sure how any of that works. Do
okay,
you have an idea?
I can get into that part with you too, but I'm gonna go back to what you said about Mia. And I'm glad that we're able to say names here. So
Mm-hmm.
through me and Mia conversation, I wanted to make sure that Mia understood her options and what she had. Once she told me she was in Babies Can't Wait, I allowed her to know that at 3 years old, that's it. It's like you're just left in the whim. But I let Mia know that at 3 years old, well, Sage is about to be 3, but I've already made the necessary stuff for Mia to have and set in place for her to be able to set up with Richmond County Board of Education so she can go ahead and get tested and get into the schooling part of it. So that's the difference in it. Now, for me, we didn't go through Babies Can't Wait. I never did Babies Can't Wait at all. I know people who worked for it. One of Marshall teachers was a work through Babies Can't Wait, but we didn't do Babies Can't Wait at all. I went straight from the diagnosis to Richmond County Board of Education. And that's what I did. So with that being said, getting what is needed for them, we have to educate each other and we have to have exactly what Dr. Post started, filling in the gaps, which made me, my mom's department come in because I fall in the line with, autism. And so that's what we are. That's like it's part of my mission. We're there for advocacy, peer support. We're there for that, for the parent, because that's what that parent needs. Now, when you get into the Social Security part of it, some people have, and I will be honest with you, I applied for it, but I only applied for it to be awarded $1. Because and this is the thing, dealing with autism, a lot of insurance, once autism got big all of a sudden, at one time you didn't even hear about it, you didn't hear anything about it. So once autism came out, a lot of the insurance companies started coming up with these different locks and blocks for the kids with insurance. But if you was able to have Georgia Medicaid, everything is there. So I did apply for SSI, the part of what it would be called for them. I did apply for SSI and I was denied. And you're denied because of your income. So I was denied because of my income. But what I will tell you, for people who are denied because of it, I just did it again last week just to get denied because I have been doing my research. They have a part of Medicaid called Katie Beckett. And what Katie Beckett is, it's a part of Medicaid that covers what is needed for our kids. It helps us with our ABA therapy. It helps us with our physical therapy, speech. So you have that part of it that you need. Whereas most insurance companies, they're stopping you your services. Your services you might get 1 or 2 months of services when your child really needs this service continuously. And ABA therapy is one thing that we really have. That was something that was taken away from Richmond County. I did have this conversation with Mia as well. SPED department cut a lot. It's a lot of things. I'm thankful that Marshall went through when he did go through because we had it. So a lot of that one-on-one that our kids need, they had it then. Right now, we don't have a lot of that. We need it. They have opened the ABA therapy here off of Washington Road. So that's another place they can look into for that.
Okay. And Mia, Sage goes to therapy twice a week. She goes to speech and occupational, I believe it is. And I can see a difference from before when she wasn't going. I can see a difference, and she loves going, and she cries sometimes when it's time to leave. So I can see that is helping. And then Mia took her to Immaculate Conception, and they have an awesome program, but it's just costly. And I'm like, okay, Mia, if this is what you want to do, we want Sage to have the best, absolutely. But if there is another alternative, because you don't want to get stuck in over your head paying for her education right now, if there's something that's similar that can be gained through Richmond County school system, which I believe you spoke to her about that.
Okay, yes, I did. I spoke to Mia about that. I allowed her to know that if IC is where she wants to go, I looked into IC for Marshall as well. Before that, it was Augusta Christian. What I told Mia is, what I would do is let Sage go ahead and start out in Richmond County school system to see how it goes. Because once she does that, what they don't tell us and what people don't know if she decide that her child has a federal mandated IEP, um, Richmond County would be liable to pay for her education wherever she want to go. She'll be able to take that with her. It might not cover her full cost, which I also told Mia that they do have grants out there for that. So she would have that choice to put her child where she needs to be. You yourself know you used to get on me about Marshall every year. Every year it just seems like Marshall was going to another school. Every time I turn around, they wanted to move my child, but um, I nipped it in the bud because I had to make sure I needed what was best for him.
Right.
And even though where I live, they bust him all the way where they bust him to. You understand? That's just like coming into high school this year. I was excited about him going to Laney at first, and then I went and visited another school and called downtown and told him, well, no, Laney's not where he's gonna be. He's gonna go to this school. And just one day I was riding during the summertime, and I happened to stop by that school to talk to them. And when I came in, it was so funny. They were like, "We'll have Marshall withdraw papers when you get here," and I'm like, "What?" So, because they already know what I want for my child.
Right.
So when you have
Right.
that dynamic and you have it set,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's what's needed. So
Yeah.
you know what your child needs, you know what your child wants, so you know what's best for your child. So you're gonna work to
Yeah.
do whatever you got to do to make sure your child get the best education. For me with Marshall, yes, I want him to have the best education, but I also want him to have the best quality of life as well,
Right.
with everything else across the board.
Right.
Like, he's cooking, he's doing his thing. And I want him to grow, and I want him to be his own person, because mommy's not going to always be here.
That's
And
right.
that's something that we have to live with. Um, I just went through a course, and it's a lot of things that people don't understand. You have people that some people feel like they just I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't do it. And you have them that put their kids in group homes and stuff like that and visit. So that's their choice.
Yeah.
Understand that. That's their choice. But I don't want that for mine. I want mine to have the quality of life that if anything happens to mommy, he's able to be able to take care of himself. Even if it's not the way y'all feel like he should take care of himself, he knows how to take care of himself and do for himself according to what's needed to be done for him.
Yeah. So for those of you that have just joined, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are talking with Miss Deidre, and she is the creator of Mom, Moving Over Mountains Against Autism. Is that right? Did I say it
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And we're talking about autism and Autism Speaks, and we're also talking about good differences. A lot of times our children with autism or any kind of developmental disability, physical disability, they're labeled, and people act like they can't accomplish things, they can't do things, but they absolutely can. Because when I tell you these kids are smart, Sage is smart, and I'm some things she doesn't like. She like you said Marshall. If she wants something, she may not speak the words, but she know how to come grab your hand. Like for instance, every time she comes to my house, her uncle, which is my godson MJ, um, she goes in his room. He has a little basketball hoop. She'll come grab my hand, give me the basketball, and wants me to put it in the basket. And I'm like, no, you need to learn to put it in the basket yourself. So she is smart. I mean, fit knows how to work a tablet better than I do. She know how to go to Netflix. She know how to find Coco Melon. She know how to find. And
Yes.
I'm like, girl, like, but you can't talk and you won't go to the bathroom. I say, ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with you.
Oh, I know that part about not going to the bathroom, baby. Can you imagine that? That was, I will say, other than him talking, that was the most challenging for
Yeah,
me. Um,
yeah,
and that, like I told Mia, that was a concern with her. But because they have these people in place and we put our kids in the school system, that's their job. They're gonna take care of our children. I feel like most of them are there and they're going to do their job and do what they're supposed to do. Um,
and I know
and
you do have those concerns, especially when they're nonverbal. And with her being nonverbal, my concern is always because we always have to watch all of our children, even those that are verbal, but especially those that are nonverbal, because you don't want anybody mistreating them and they can't tell you, or you want to make sure that if there's something wrong, they know how to communicate it. And so even whether it's a private school, public school, it doesn't matter. They're around people that you don't know. So you have to kind of build up some kind of, strength and trust. First of all, we pray over our kids. I know I do. I
I
pray
know that's
over
right.
I pray over them every day.
So
MJ calls
where
me
my
on his way
prayers
to
don't come from, my
listen.
mama and family and
That's
teachers,
right.
I know,
We pray
because
and we
somebody prayed
believe.
for us.
That's
That's
right. That's right. Absolutely. Which is why we are here. And so we do pray and we do trust. But are there anything in the school system? So Richmond County school system you mentioned, I know funding for the SPED classes or not, because Mia is actually a parapro in SPED, well, supposed to be in SPED, but
we
they're moving her
they are moving
around.
her around. I also talked to her about that. Um, I I asked Mia, was that her passion? If that's what she wanted to do. So before I tell you this, I'm gonna tell you my story. Um, I went. Marsha probably was in third grade, and I was one of those parents that used to go up to the school all the time. And when I used to go to the school all the time, that's just what I did. Went to the school all the time. So this particular day, I went to the school, and when I went to the school, it was two teachers missing in his classroom. And I'm like, "Where's the teachers?" And they had told me that a sub came in, and the sub said, I can't do this. That day, it's funny because I always talk to Dr. Poor about this. That day is the day that I went and signed up to start subbing, and I only wanted sped.
Mm,
And but when I got in there, I got to one school that I started at sped, but they kept me every day. So as he got older, I would change schools and make sure that I stayed into the sped department trying to be there. um, Richmond County has cut a lot. SPED is one of the things that they did cut. I'm one of them people that I don't care what I say, so I'm going to say what I'm gonna say. They cut the SPED department, but what they don't understand, if it wasn't for SPED in Title One, it wouldn't be a Richmond County. So that way, with that being said, a lot of our people that we had in SPED have left our SPED department, but we're growing, we are coming back, and they are coming back stronger. And I can say that because, of course, I would have been on Facebook already and told y'all
I
about it.
know. I
So,
know.
so they're coming back. They're coming back stronger, and they are working toward what needs to be done. A couple of years ago, Dr. Poe used to do CTAE with over at Josie, and that was one of the schools that was on Marsha's list. And I always told her that if you leave Josie, he ain't going to Josie, because I already know who there. You wanna know where your baby at. And as her Dr. Poe is so passionate about so much, which is pathetic. If it ain't autism, mental health, she's crossed the board. So when I say that, she would have it to where she had their SPED department incorporated with the general ed. And so if the general ed took a field trip to Atlanta, and it was a sped child in that class, she wanted to make sure that that child had that. We still have teachers like that. And I am thanking God right now that I have one that is the same way. So they're passionate about it. So it's all in where they're placed and
Right.
how they're placed. And just a parent that stays on top of it. It says IEP, that's individual educational plan. So that's a plan for your child. I
Mm,
don't need you not to be at that meeting because you had something else to do. I need you to be there because nobody else can speak for your child
right.
but you.
Right.
Nobody else can set those pointers but you. Nobody else can make the goals that you need for your child but you.
Right.
So if you're not trying to set those goals and know to move forward with it, they won't know.
That's right. And that's a good point. The only advocate your child really has is you.
You are your child's
You
advocate.
are
I'm
your
Mark's
child's, it's
voice.
your
Yeah.
responsibility to advocate for your child, not the teacher, not the doctor. It's your responsibility to advocate. So, Deidre, what I like to do is give folks who are on an opportunity to give some responses or ask questions or just open it up. So, is there anyone on that has a personal interaction with someone with autism or any kind of, disability? Or do you have any encouraging words that you'd like to share? We have people from all over. I see my cousin Liza has made it on. She's in Alabama. I see Shauna Biles is on. She's in Washington, D.C. So I see Maureen. I see a few of my folks came on in the room. So is there anyone that would like to
Didn't I see
share?
Miss Monique come on?
Do you see Monique? Oh, Monique might be on
Yeah,
too.
I seen Monique come on and hit that camera off on me. Hey, Mo girl. But Tonia, this is something that
I'm
they
here. Hey, hey,
hey,
yeah.
boo, hey. This is probably something that this person wasn't expecting, but since you opened the floor, I do want, if you don't mind, if I can get Dr. Oni Poe to come in and speak to you a little bit about filling in the gaps, how autism falls up under it, what all we do with filling in the gaps, whether it's mental health, our parent advocacy, peer, everything that she knows. But Dr.
Yeah,
Poe,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Dr. Poe, do you mind giving me a few minutes of your time?
I don't mind at all, Deidre, but I would love to say that you have been the best spokesmodel for what filling in the gaps is all about. I do not believe that I need to say anything, but I will since you extended this invitation to me. I just want to say, first of all, I am just so honored to hear you speak about your experiences being a mom of a wonderful child that has amazing abilities. You are what filling in the gaps is. I don't know autism. I have not raised a child with autism. I've educated children with autism. And what filling in the gaps is finding what it takes to meet the middle part between what a person needs and what they receive. There are parents. I heard Tanya say there are people here from several states who may have children with autism, loved one with autism. They may be educators of people with autism, but it takes someone who has walked the journey to reach back and give support for others who need to know the way. And that's what filling in the gaps does in so many areas. I'm passionate about mental health. I can tell my story with mental health. I can talk about my family's issues with mental health. I can talk about my experience as an educator, but I cannot be the voice of autism. But you can, and you're doing it so eloquently. I all I had was an envelope to write on, but some of what I heard that I think are critical points is number one, you talked about peer support. I heard Tonia say she reached out to you and you gave her some advice. You're helping people navigate the system. Another thing I heard you talk about was I don't think you used the word transition, but as I was listening to you speak, I was thinking about, okay, so early intervention program stops at a certain age, and there needs to be some type of transition before they're in school. And I'm immediately thinking, that those are buzzwords that will be great talking points for other parents who are on this journey and need to know that. I know there's also, you talked about what you had to do when Marsha was getting ready to go to high school. So in my mind, I feel like there's a potential gap between middle school and high school that we can do some advocacy and some support, in that gap. And so that's what filling in the gaps is all about. Whatever separates a person from living their best life and having optimal opportunities, I want to change that. And I want to change that by putting people in place who can be the voice. Deidre, you have given voice to so many children, parents, caregivers, teachers tonight. You're that spokesperson, and I'm honored to have you as a representative, not of me, but just what the mission of filling in the gap stands for. Because I don't like to be put on the spot. I don't even need
no, that's why I did it.
but you're doing that. You're doing it so gracefully, and we're blessed. We're blessed to have you to share your journey. We're blessed to have you to talk about Marsha's journey. I think that's all I want to say. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Dr. Poe.
You're
And
welcome.
for you, most of you guys on here that know Deidre, you know she go from 0 to 100 real quick. And when I invited her to do this, she was like, "Oh, I don't do well talking." I said, "You don't do well talking in front of who?" I said, "You know I follow you on social media. You do know that. You do know I know you in person. Like, what are you talking about?" "Oh, well, I'm gonna be I said, "Girl, are you kidding me?" And she
What?
comes on here tonight like she been doing this like
No, I
forever.
really didn't. I'm telling you, I told my sister-in-law Marty, I was like, Marty, I don't know if I could do it. I told it to Oni, but to know Dr. Poe is like, this her telephone, and when I said it, she just turned it down, and it was the end of it. I don't even need to talk to you no more because I don't know what you're talking about.
Right,
She did that to me. But
exactly.
I do want to piggyback off something that she said.
Okay.
Transition.
Okay.
I did not speak on it, but transitional plan is something that today I had an IEP meeting at Laney. And also while I was there, yay, let me tell y'all about the kudos, girl. They even
Yes.
called me and tell me my baby was a reader, was a top reader, had made honor roll for the whole semester, but I happened to be standing there waiting on my meeting at the guidance office, and I look up and see my son's name. But in the process,
Congratulations. Yes,
thank you,
yay,
thank you, thank you.
Marshall.
So we when they do transition out of middle school, your IEP is totally different. And it is a transitional plan in there, and they're already set. It's like a transitioning him to high school and where he needs to be at after living. I mean, after high school. I have Marshall on a track, and today it was just so awesome to hear what they had to say about him. No, he's not gonna be in school. He's 21. He graduated when he 18. He graduated in 4 years like he's supposed to. Not only that, they have decided that because of his singing, him loving to read, and his art, they have put him on I think she called it the fine art program there
Okay,
at Laney
Marshall.
now. So for
Okay.
his diploma thing. So right now we are, even though he's in the ninth grade, working toward all that. The transition we're working on now is his college. So we've already looked into it. And of course, as Dr. Poe and my mom and them already know, before Marshall left elementary school, I already knew what middle school he was going to. Before he left middle school, I knew what high school he was going to. So I already have my 3 things in plan for him after high school. And something that some parents might not know, Aiken Tech has a program for special need kids on the spectrum across the board, and they take one college course a quarter, and they're also setting up now where they will have dormitories for some of them who parents are trying to, give that independence to them on their way. So that's
That's
something else that
awesome.
we talk about. I'm
That's
sorry.
awesome.
Yeah.
And parents don't know because they feel like, okay, my child is limited. My child can't do, instead of figuring out, okay, let me see what they can do, or let me figure out how to get them to a place where they can participate in regular school, participate outside of high school, college, thinking of the master plan, if you will, because like you said, you have to transition them through life, just like we have to transition through life. And it's not easy for us, but we figure things out. And this way, if you have a support system like Filling in the Gaps and Mom, you guys are helping people say, hey, just because your child has XYZ doesn't mean they're limited by what they can do. You just have to find the resources to help you navigate through what is out there and how you can set up a plan for your child. Because, a lot of times we just go through life, willy-nilly. We don't really plan for next 5 years. We don't plan for next week most of the time,
Right. Exactly.
and so if it's that way for us as adults, and we have children. If they don't see us planning, they're not going to plan. But sometimes you have to plan for them. And so I'm really glad to hear that, Marshall going to be going to college, and we're going to be
Yeah, girl.
celebrating all his accomplishments. We're going to watch him walk across the stage, and
Yes,
it's going to
yes,
be
yes.
amazing, because this is what they can do if they have the right support and resources. But
And the right.
that's what it boils down to: support and resources.
And I'm glad you said support, because also moms, along with filling in the gap, we every third Tuesday of the month, we do a parent support night. You came to one of them. Unfortunately, this month, February, we have another engagement, so we won't have the one for February, but we'll be up and running again in March, full loaded. I also, while we're on here, want to announce that Mom is doing its first annual Autism Awareness Walk here in Augusta, Georgia, at Lake Armstead on April the 2nd. Um,
Yay.
Feel free to donate. I'm looking for volunteers, sponsors, uh, and also I've always did a breakfast, and this year we're going to do a breakfast again, and that's going to be April the 29th at the Augusta Library downtown. So I put it out there because I want people to be able to come in and talk. Again, I say, when this happened to me, I didn't know anything. So I know what it felt like at that night. Like I had this conversation with Mia, and I'm just going to be upfront. I know what Mia feel like when it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you trying to understand, why is this boy not going to sleep? Why is this not going to where everything is, where it's supposed to be? And you want to cry, but you ain't got nobody to call. You don't have that. I know my mama. I already know my mama got tired of me, but it was a blessing, and people don't understand that, because you know how some people say, "Oh, it can be a blessing and a curse at the same time." Across the board, this whole thing, my whole journey with Marshall Gregory Middleton was a blessing, because not only did he make me a better mother, he made me a better person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also, I want to say something else that Oni said. We even though Tanya, we do advocacy for people, we have to also sit in place when we are doing this and not go too far. So we have to set boundaries at the
Right.
same time, because we don't want those boundaries to turn into barriers. I am just learning this, because I know most of the people on the platform who really know me know that I don't set boundaries. Whatever it is you say you need it, I'm gonna do it, and I'm going in and do whatever I gotta do. And if it's that one time that I'm unable to do it with you, that's when that barrier becomes, I cross that, I let that boundary go. So I have to set that boundary with them. Now I can be with that parent, helping her through her journey to get her where she need to be with her child. But I can't sit and say that, oh no, let me talk to the teacher. Oh no, let me do this. You can't do that, because you have to set boundaries in there, because that parent needs to know that
Right.
as well. I had that conversation with Mia as well. I can't wait to see how Sage bloom from this, whether it's through Richmond County, whether it's through IC, because I know she is. I gave her the right, I feel like I gave her the right tools to use to make sure that she get the right developmental specialist. That was one of the things that a lot of people don't do. They just want to listen to the doctor, that the doctor said that your child have this thing. Well, I want to know, did you take your child to a developmental specialist? That's one of the things that need to be done, because once you get into the developmental specialist part, that's where we can narrow it down and see what we're really dealing with.
Right. Right.
I mean, you read medical terms about autism.
Yeah.
Those are things that are written.
Yeah.
But how many
But
people can say that that is what it is? Have
right.
you sat down with, I mean, anybody can come in the room and tell you anything.
Right.
We done
Right.
went to the doctor one time, they done
Right.
told us something, but
Right.
we come back and it ain't even that.
Did.
So, you know,
Did.
that's
Did.
that's that's where we have to go.
Because we have to
With
remember,
us.
doctors practice medicine. They
Mm-hmm.
practice. It's called practice for a reason.
It's called, and then for me, this is a lived experience.
Yeah.
How can I not be straightforward if I ain't lived it? Can't nobody tell you, people can tell you what to do, but have they lived it? If they
That's
lived
right.
it and went
That's right.
through it, they can show you and guide you to where you need to be with that situation.
which is why we exist, Tuesday Talks with Tonia, because I think about, I can't tell a crackhead how to get off crack because I ain't never been on crack.
Right.
I can tell somebody how to get out of an abusive marriage. I can tell somebody how to overcome trauma, things that I've experienced, but things that you haven't experienced, it's kind of hard for you to tell somebody and you haven't lived it. So you are a walking, talking, living, experienced mouthful of wisdom and knowledge. Omni
Thank
said it
you.
best that you have done so well with Marshall. You've done so well with this journey. And I know you had tough times. I know you had hard times, but you don't show it. You know
Oh,
what I
no.
mean? You don't show it. And that's why I think people can gravitate to you because of your strength that you have shown. So a couple of things in the chat. One thing Miss Monique said, she said, whoop whoop, I'll be a sponsor. I got a couple of dollars.
Okay, Mo.
And I said Farmore will be a sponsor. And someone else said, I'm at work, airport crazy as always, but my niece's son has autism and he goes to, let me see, he goes to school 3 days a week. If the teacher is available, she can really need some good support. He attends Langford Middle School, 8th grade.
Okay. That's a
I have a
that's
question.
oh, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Maureen.
Um, I have a friend who has I think he's a 2-year-old guy, little guy, little fellow, and he's home. He doesn't go anywhere. Are there any resources for him to go to, like daycare that will, be able to accommodate him? Can you help, with something like that?
Okay, so there are daycares out there that do uh work with kids with autism. Marshall did go to daycare twice, and ABC daycare is a great one. And
Is that the one on Millersville Road?
yes, the one on Milledgeville Road. Just
Okay.
ask for Miss Laurie and tell her I sent you. Um, and if you decide that, you could do Creative Minds. That's on Milledgeville Road as well. As for Mimi or Jerry, and tell them I sent you. They both have and the only reason I'm saying this is because I know how their 1 and 2 their babies to their 3-year-old kids teachers are. We have a lot of people that get in the daycare system and they're young, but when you have people that get in the daycare system and they're about my age, you already know what you're dealing with. You're not putting your child in just anything. But I would also say to you, Tanya told you about Babies Can't Wait. That is a program that you can get into. And even though you're in Babies Can't Wait and your child goes to daycare, Babies Can't Wait will come to your daycare to see your child as well, to give them the therapy or whatever extra help they need.
Anything in Columbia County? They live in Columbia County. Or is it specific to Richmond County?
Well, I am working with someone now out of Columbia County. I will try to plug you in with something, but Babies Can't Wait is across the board because that is Georgia. So you
Right.
can get with them and they would be able to help you with that as well. And like I said earlier, we lost a lot of our sped people to Columbia County. So I know a couple of people that work in the Columbia County system, but not, not for a 2-year-old right now.
Oh,
So
okay. All right. Thank you.
no, you're welcome.
See how you just spew out stuff? See how
I'm sorry.
easy it comes to you?
It was, but it's like I said, it's lived experience, and you start listening, you start looking, you start seeing where things are. And again, I am who I am, but I have to uphold Dr. Poe because she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And me and her had a conversation prior to this, and it was like, I see it, but I ain't finna pull it out you. When you ready for it to come out, it'll come out. And then when it did, and I birthed it, it was just like, it was
Yep.
that moment. And it's great. I mean, I really can tell you these last few weeks have been an aha moment all the time.
Yeah.
You'll be amazed at the inboxes that I get. And also everyone, you can follow my page on Facebook. It's called Mom Moving Over Mountains Against Autism. I try to post different things that go on, just little quotes, stuff for parents to know. I'm free anytime. You can inbox me. Anybody tell you I answer inbox. But I was telling
Yes. Answer inbox and calls and everything
and
else.
phone calls, no matter what time it is. Yes. And that's so funny that you say that because I did an interview recently and a lady asked me when I gave her my information, she said, "Is that your personal phone number?" I said, "Yes." She said, "You sure you want to put that out there?" I said, "Yes." I didn't, I don't know what else to do. She said, "You don't want
Right.
to get a Google number?" No. Because I want to be that transparent. I want to be that person because I
You want to
know,
be
like,
accessible. You want to be
yeah, I want
accessible.
to be because it's hard. It's hard when I used to wake up at 3:30 in the morning and just want to scream, or you just want to walk on that porch and just scream because you want to know why.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even that because now my why for you all right now, I'm living my why.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. I'm living my why.
Yeah.
And so that's why I do what I do.
And we appreciate you so much.
Thank
We do. I
you.
appreciate you. Mia appreciates you. It's a process. And I know you didn't get here overnight. And I know you've had different trials, but you've triumphed. And I see triumph in you. I see triumph in Marshall. Richmond
Somebody
County,
said, yeah, I just seen that.
Richmond County told her they couldn't help.
Richmond County told her the 2 year
Is
old.
that the one? No, I think that's a response to the one that's at Langford.
Okay, the one that's at Langford, the probably what's going on with that situation because I don't know. I know that they're doing it in elementary school. Sometimes when we have, like I told you, the autism spectrum is kind of big. Sometimes when we have severe things, sometimes they break their days down. I know they do that in elementary school. I'm not aware of middle school. That's something I have to look into. And of course, no disrespect, but it's a shortage of teachers.
Yeah.
Right now, they have a shortage of teachers. So it might be the fact that they don't even have teachers for that classroom, but they're trying to accommodate them as well as they can um, in that class. Uh, but I would tell them now, if they want the best teacher, they better send their child to help for middle school. I'm just kidding. I ain't mean to put that out there, but I said what I said. No.
You said what you said. You said what you said.
Yes, I said what I said.
And
But
that's fine. But you're right. It is a shortage of teachers. It's a shortage of bus. It's a shortage across educational system. Period. It's challenging. It's challenging for regular classrooms, and so I can't imagine the challenges also with your sped classrooms. But it's
and in the SPED classroom, that's what I was telling you. When I went in my last 3 years of Southern, that's what I did. I haven't been back in the school system since COVID. But when I did it, that's what I did. I was a SPED Pro. And that's something that I loved because um they need that extra help.
they do.
They need you to say you can do it. We'll work together. That's a lot of things that come in, even with Mia right now. Working with Mia right now, I'll tell you one thing: hand over hand is always going to be good for her.
Yeah.
People don't understand what that means, but hand over hand, you help her because no matter what she's trying to do, you're gonna be right there to guide her. So that's a great thing as far as well as early intervention. And any parent that has a child in the school system right now, I pray for myself, I pray for you. But I do tell you this: don't stop when they tell you that they can't do something. You go a step further. If they tell you it can't be done, you know it can be done. And that's another thing. A lot of us don't know, a lot of people don't know they right. Every time you have an IEP meeting, they give you your right book. And I promise you, out of 20 parents, 19 of them throw the book down. I'm
Mhm.
telling you now, 19 of them throw the book down. They
Yeah.
can't even tell you what their rights are when it comes to it. So know your rights. Get to know your rights. Get to know your school. Also get to know your what I would say what SPED director is over your school. Because at that time you start working with that person. Sometimes, we can just, I ain't trying to step on nobody's toes, but I'm telling you now, I don't even I don't school system, I start out, okay, let's go to the principal. Let's go here. Let's go to me. No, I go straight to 706 826 1000. Can I have the sped department, please?
Right.
I need to know who's over that school because you have to know, and you have to know your rights.
Yeah.
Not only was I blessed with owning, I was blessed with, most of my aunties are, I got retired aunties that are educators. I got one that's a retired sped educator. And so, I was truly blessed to have people that when I got my back up against the wall, I could ask these kind of questions. And of course, when you're working in the system, it's so much you can say. It's so much you can say, and it's so much you can do, because at the end of the day, that's your job. But as a parent, I can say what I want to say, and I'm going to say what I want to say, and I'm going to say what I want for my child. And you have to be determined about it. You have to want that, because I will tell you, if I was a slack parent, Marshall would not be who Marshall is today.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's right. You have to, you can't be afraid. You can't be timid. You can't be shy. And Ani said, shortage of teachers is indeed a problem, but that is no excuse for the county to get away with providing shortages of services to those that need them, which is, I agree. I agree. I agree 100%. There's no excuse. You have to do, but a lot of times we have what we have because we don't want to invest the money, the time, the training. We end up with people who really don't want to be in the school system. They're just doing it because they think they want to be in it, and then when they get in there and it's something totally different. And so by the time they're in there and they're not the best teacher, they're not, don't really have a heart, because, when we were growing up, teaching was different. Teachers had been in it for 16, 17, however many years. They loved it. They loved children. But then it became a fashionable thing to do. Oh, I'm going to be a teacher, but you didn't really have the heart to go along with it. So it's just a combination of things that, we have to be on the lookout and watch out for as we're sending all children to schools these days. And so I see we have a new guest that joined, and my cousin said, thanks for sharing. She was like, she loves this. She has to get off to go to church. So thank you, Maria, for
I think
joining.
Ivy has her hand raised.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Dr. Poe, I'm sorry. I'm so used to owning.
Oni is my name. That is always fine. Dr. Poe is a title, but it's Oni is my name. Will always be my name.
I love
No
it.
disrespect at all. But I just wanted to say, one of the things, just to piggyback on my own comment about the shortage of teachers and the shortages of services. Like you said, Deidre, a lot of parents don't read that parental rights handbook. And so oftentimes they may feel like whatever the teachers say or whatever the school system uses as an excuse for why certain programs or certain services are not being implemented, that's okay. But when parents are educated to utilize their voice, and when parents are educated on the fact that you have parental rights and you hold the school system accountable, I guarantee you, once more parents start doing that, we won't be making statements like there's a shortage of anything, because individual education plan is a mandate, is bound by law, is backed by law. So they have to make whatever provisions are necessary. But if no one is holding them accountable for making those provisions, they will forever get away with making bogus comments. And I say that boldly as a Richmond County school system educator, but I'm a parent. My son does not currently have an IEP, but when he did have an IEP, I had to make the clear distinction. I work for this county, but when I come to this IEP meeting, I am Braden's mom.
Right.
I am not your school system employee. And they fed me the same thing, with Miss Poe, no, I don't know anything. Read me my parental rights, give me my handbook, speak to me just as if you would speak to any other parent, because that's my right. And so I just wanted to say that I personally, I'm tired of excuses. I've been a part of this county for many years, and we are very excuse driven. We need to be more solution focused. And the more we have, the more we have conversations like this, and the more we have parents learning about their rights, getting the support they need, and standing together to hold the system accountable, we may not have the teachers here, but what are we going to do to get the teachers here, as opposed to saying year after year after year after year, we have a shortage? That excuse has ran out with me. So I just wanted to make that comment.
And I agree 100%. What are you going to do about the shortage? Okay, you know you have it. So what are you going to do different? Because evidently you have a shortage because there are problems within the system. And so until you fix the problem, you're going to continue to have a shortage. I'm on the outside looking in, like, you know, I have godchildren that came up in the system, well, Mia, and then MJ, he's at one of the schools. But when I tell you his mama don't play the radio and I don't play, and I say, because the last thing y'all want to do is see my face or her face. And I'm like you, Deidre. I don't call the principal. I go, Dr. Bradshaw, we have a problem. And if I have to go to Dr. Bradshaw and say we have a problem, then there's a big problem. So that's not what you want, but that's what you're going to get if something is not right with him.
Can I say one more thing? I was going to come on and just listen.
Oh, you good? Quiet,
but I just want to say one more thing. I've been in the system long enough to know movement is made for the parents that speak up and speak out. I'm special ed certified in this system, so I'm not just talking about what I've heard. I'm talking about what I've been asked to do. You know, in my time in providing special education services, that's a whole different conversation for a different day. I just know provisions are made at the school level for the parents that speak up. You could have 28 students in a class with an IEP, but the one child who has a Deidre Robertson as a mom is going to get the support and the service that they need because the district is afraid of Deidre Robertson showing up.
That's right.
My question is, what about the other 28 whose mamas don't know to show up? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So if we advocate and if we keep doing this so that all 30 parents are showing up, the next year we can have a different dialogue, and I guarantee you it wouldn't be that we have a shortage of anything.
Right.
That's the key. The parental voice is the key. School system, it will jump through hoops. Everything changes when parents speak.
Absolutely.
And that's what we need more of. So continue doing your thing, girl. I'm not saying anything else.
You're good. Is there anybody else that wanted to chime in before we get ready to go? It's usually around an hour, but when the conversation is good, Miss Deborah, I see your hand. Go ahead, Miss Deborah. You're on mute.
Oh Lord, she don't know how to unmute.
You do?
There
I do. You got
it? She said, yes, I
do. Yeah. I was a teacher. I'm a retired teacher now, physical education and adaptive PE for my special ed kids. Now, one thing I will tell you, you get burnt out. But when our kids came, our special needs kids, regardless of what, some of them came in wheelchairs, but they left out of lane and walking. But the burnout that you face when you have 51 children in a class and you have to, 51, that's why I retired, because after I was tired, but it can be done. We just need for them to do what this. If you have 19 kids in a class and you have a special needs child, regardless of what, you definitely need somebody in there to help you. Yeah. And that is what the problem was, like I said, especially with me, because like I said, 51, and I had wheelchairs and everything. But when they left Lena High School, they came in rolling, but they went out walking.
Man, all right now. Okay. But we appreciate you for your service, because it is a service of love, but there is a such thing as teacher burnout, especially when you don't have the support, the tools, and the resources that you need. So I commend you, because who couldn't be a teacher is me.
You can't be.
No.
But it also, you have to also teach the children to help.
Tonya, can you imagine me in a classroom?
Listen, I'm like, you was in the classroom? What?
Right. So that's why I'm telling you, you can be in the classroom too.
I can imagine both of y'all being in the classroom.
And you said you can or can't?
I can. Straightening them out.
Oh,
Exactly, Monique. Right. Because we're gonna give them what they really need.
that's
They
right.
gonna get
Exactly.
that, they gonna get that homebound love and that teacher love at the same time.
That's right.
That's why
Mm-hmm.
I always say that. A lot of times, they feel like you can't say this, but that isn't, that's one thing about I will say. In the system, they clip them so hard to where you can and can't say but so much to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And we have took it away where, because I'm telling you, I wish Miss Smith was on here. Let me tell you something. I used to get paddlings in school. You get what I'm
Me
saying?
too.
So now you touch a child at the school, you going to you got public safety and everything else around there. You can't even beat your own child. So that's the problem. I mean, that's part of the problem too.
It
That's why the
is.
teachers
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be there.
That's
Because
it.
some of them getting they disrespectful, they rude, and but I'm going off subject now. But
No, you good because it all feeds into what we're talking about,
yeah,
which
and
leads back to the teacher burnout.
yeah, which is the thing. Go ahead,
No, I said I wasn't going to say anything else, but it sounds like teacher burnout is another great space for advocacy and giving voice to the experiences of teachers who are having to endure situations that are not ideal and the best. To hear the number of students that you had to support
Yeah.
without additional support is ludicrous. And I know that it's happening in the county. And so to have groups like Mom who are doing advocacy work as well, I think that's another piece that I want to, I'm always listening for gaps. And when I heard that comment,
Mm-hmm.
it made me think about how much we need to speak out about that as well. So we'll be adding that to the Moms Advocacy lineup work to make sure that we do something
Y'all bring
to
Miss
address.
Deborah on in. She retired. She
I
can come help
know.
y'all
I
fill in
know.
the gap.
Oh,
teacher.
I
believe
know Miss Poe. She don't remember me, but I do know
I
her.
do remember you.
Remember me? Okay.
Yes.
so we'll bring them on in. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the thing about it.
I'm excited. Well, Deidre, you have been a blessing. Thank everyone who's joined us. Is there anybody else? I don't want to leave anybody else out. I want everybody to have an opportunity. If there's something you want to say, mention, ask, feel free. Deidre, drop in the chat your contact for those that don't have it.
I don't see the chat.
You don't see the chat?
I went all the way out. See?
Oh, Lord. Never mind. Let me put it in here.
I ain't gonna tell you. She don't know how to do it.
Oh, yes, I do. I see it now.
I'm just
You
messing with
see
you,
it?
Look, here's the thing though. I am not on my I'm not on my thing. But you got all my information, right?
Yes. And
You
so,
got
and if there's anyone, so you can follow my Tuesday Talks with Tonya Facebook page. We're also on YouTube, like our channel. That way you can go back and watch this. It typically takes about a week to get uploaded after it's edited and everything. But you can also like that, and I'll share Deidre's contact information on my Tuesday Talks Facebook page. And
and I'm
so all you
thinking,
have to do is like the page to be able to see the information. It's Tuesday Talks with Tonia. That's Tonia. It's like a little purple box, a little icon that's like a speech box, a bubble. And once you go on Facebook, just like the page and you'll get the updates, you'll get the alerts when we do this every other Tuesday. You're on mute, Mo. You talking to me?
she don't even know she on mute.
Unless she on the phone talking to somebody else. But yeah, if you like and follow the Tuesday Talks with Tonya Facebook page, we do these every other week. There are different topics, different people come on and share information. You can go back and watch previous Tuesday Talks with Tonya. And yeah, that we like to keep people informed and connected. So Deidre, again, I really appreciate you being my special guest today.
Girl, I was scared. And me and you
Girl,
talked about that. Yes, we did. But
I don't
I
even
tell
know
you
why.
what,
Not you. I was like,
yeah. But it was the point of, being on the platform or whatever. But I do thank you. I do thank you for allowing me to speak. I do thank you for putting moms out there so people can know that it is someone out there to help them with this. Again, like I said, filling in the gaps. I under that umbrella, filling in the gaps. I'm the autism part of it. Every third Tuesday of the month, we have a meeting. I'll make sure I put that out there as well. Tanya was at our one. We did a drop-in for coffee during December.
And I got a massage for free.
Oh yeah, she got a massage. Yeah. So we will be back again. Unfortunately, this month we have another engagement on the 21st, so we won't be there this month, but we will be back coming up in March. And then I'll be looking for all of y'all to march with me on April the 2nd. Do not forget it. I was gonna put it out there tomorrow, but since I done put it out here tonight, I might as well go on and
put it out there tonight. Give people a head start.
Put it out there tonight and get a head start on things. And again, thank you, Tanya. Thank you for bringing this up. And it's so amazing that me and you met the way that we met, and then now we're connected the way that we're connected. And that's part of also filling in the gaps. We are also connecting the links at the same time. So everything about it is just us, ain't it, Paul? I'm just but yeah, so we're there to fill in the gaps. Not only with autism, as Poe said, mental health, anything that you can think of that you think you need. You can follow Dr. Poe on Facebook, filling in the gaps, and also on Lady O. So we have all that information, and I put all that out there again on my page and on my mom's page. So we'll have it all together, so it will be collaborate. We're waiting on our website to launch. Once it launches, we will be in there.
Come on with the plugs. All right now. And so Miss Mimi said, this was awesome. D, you rock. Aww.
Oh, thank you, Miss Mimi. Tell Mr. B, not Mr. B, I couldn't think his name, but your husband, I say hello as well. I know my mama happy you here. Yes.
Well, I want you ladies to have a fantastic rest of your week. If you can't do something for yourself, do something nice for someone else. Thank you for joining Tuesday Talks with Tonia, and I hope y'all will join me again